Welcome to r/LegalAdvice, where we read surprisingly interesting stories that don't end in a cliffhanger, I promise. If you are new around here, please feel free to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right in. Husband surprised me with a divorce, cleaned out bank accounts and shut off credit cards. How can I find an attorney with no money? Tonight, when my husband got home from work, he informed me he wants a divorce and will be leaving until it is done. This is not a huge surprise, honestly. Ever since our daughter was born, we have just not been getting along. What is a surprise is its suddenness. I have been a stay-at-home mom since our daughter was born 2 years ago. It just did not make sense to work and spend 90% of what I made on daycare. So, in talking to him before he was finished packing, he told me,
"Good luck with the mortgage and bills. I've taken my money out of your bank account and turned off your card on my credit."
I would say I was shocked, but I really am not. He is very mean when he is angry and never has seemed to connect with his daughter. He wanted a boy, and from the day we got the word we were having a daughter, he has been distant. I obviously need an attorney. I logged into our bank account, sure enough, it is at $5. What resources can I begin looking into to get an attorney for free to help at least make him pay the bills and food until I can find childcare and a job? Is there anything I can do myself with the courts that is semi-quick to at least have him pay for the necessities since he cleaned out our joint account, or at least money for an attorney? I understand it is all his money, but we are married with a child. I don't see how he can just leave us with nothing all of the sudden. I am in Wisconsin. I've tried to Google up the best I could since the little one went to sleep, but I cannot find what I am looking for or even really know what I'm looking for. Thanks for anyone who helps. Then, in return, someone in the comments mentioned, contact your local or state bar association. You're not the first person to have this sort of thing happen, and they will have the resources to help you get legal representation and also help with other financial matters. Also, if you have bills coming due, would be worth talking to creditors to let them know what is going on. If your husband is on those bills too, his credit will also take a hit from not paying. But honestly guys, taking the legal factor out of this for a second, how heartless do you have to be to do something like that? But let's see how the story continues. Surprise divorce, husband cleared bank accounts, update. I was not able to get much done over the weekend except sell the wedding ring for some food/diaper money. Today, however, was really busy. I spoke to a few people I was able to get in contact with through legal aid. I'm told by the end of the week I should be with an attorney who can begin helping me file everything I need to begin doing and hopefully begin tracking down where he has put all the money and get some back so I can continue to survive until I can be approved for childcare through state benefits and begin working again. I am really surprised about how often this happens. There are entire places dedicated to helping men and women who have their wives/husbands do this to them. I am filing for divorce before he can, hopefully, and for the return of the money into our account and in order to continue assisting with bills, child support and other necessities such as diapers, mortgage, etc. I probably will not have another update to this for a good long time, but so many people wanted to make sure I was going to be okay, and with everyone's advice to contact legal aid, etc., it looks like it hopefully might get better soon. I also contacted the bank and other bills that are coming up that I won't make and explained the situation. They are somewhat understanding, and hopefully I will be back at work soon to keep current. Thanks for everyone's help and advice. I don't know how you guys feel about this story, let me know in the comments, but I think, at least in my opinion, there is not enough information on both the OP and the husband. But I mean, even without having too much information, it's definitely not okay to just take all the money from the bank account and basically leave your child and wife with nothing. And the next one is titled, Had my cat for 3 years, stranger now claiming he lost cat as a kitten and is threatening to sue for return. Over 2 years ago, a stray cat wandered into my yard. He had no tags and no microchip and had multiple infected bite wounds. He was also unneutered. I had his wounds treated and made a good faith effort to find the owner. This included posting flyers, giving a description and contact info to the local vet offices and shelters, and posting to the community Facebook page and places like Craigslist and the forum for the local paper. No one came forward. After his initial wounds healed, we discovered his hind leg had been broken and had healed wrong. He needed a major operation to fix it and was neutered at the same time. Though I had originally planned to find him a new home, well, after months of physical therapy and bonding, he was not going anywhere. Fast forward to a few months ago. Someone contacted me on social media claiming to be the cat's original owner. The cat has a distinctive marking and he does have photos that appear to be the same cat as a kitten. He claimed that they allowed the cat outside and one night he did not return. They assumed he was dead and per the man himself made no effort to find him. The cat was less than 6 months old when he disappeared and less than a year when I found him. The man claimed his daughter was devastated and wants the cat returned. I did not confirm the cat was the same animal since I cannot know for sure, but I did say if it was the same cat, I have now had him for longer than the original potential owner, 6 months versus almost 3 years. Due to this and the fact that he had no tag or chip and the owner never searched for him, I don't feel I have to return him. I have not contacted the man since, but he continues to message me at least once a week and is now threatening to take me to court. I have not replied. Is this something I need to worry about? Should I look into getting a lawyer? If he did try to sue for cat custody, would he have a case? Considering the timeline, it is likely the cat's leg was broken while in the care of the owner and my vet is willing to testify to that. Would that increase the likelihood I would win if he tried to sue? I'm really not willing to give up this cat. I have paid over $5,000 getting him healthy, but more important than the money is the simple fact that I love the furry little jerk. I don't want him going back to a home that neglected him and let him roam without even the most basic care. I don't believe the man knows where I live. My social media was pretty locked down as far as personal info in the first place. I don't actually know how he found me though, and that makes me nervous. If he continues contacting me, is there anything I can do legally to discourage that? This story leads me to the question, have you guys ever taken in a stray animal? Or have you ever adopted an animal from a pet shelter? Let us know in the comments. Update: the exceptionally stupid ending to the cat scam saga. Cat now has a no contact order. You all thought it was over, so did I, but no. Turns out this story really could get weirder. Recap: years ago I took in an injured stray cat. The cat did not have a collar or chip. A good faith attempt was made to locate possible owners. After owning the cat for several years, I began receiving messages on social media from someone claiming to be the original owner. They demanded I return the cat and I refused and blocked them. Eventually, they escalated to sending letters to my home on letterhead from a non-existent lawyer's office. The letters demanded I pay hundreds for the privilege of keeping the cat or they would sue for what exactly was unspecified. At this point it was clear this was a scam, albeit a bizarre one. Someone on the BOLA thread suggested reporting the letters to the local bar association. I ignored the first two, but when they kept arriving I went ahead and did so. I assumed the bar association took some kind of action because the next letter I received was basically the scammer raging, "How dare you!" This was the first letter that contained an actual threat against my safety. So, to cut this already way too long story short, I filed a police report. After some additional letters, my cat now has a no contact order. Okay, it is in my name, but we all know it's really for the cat. I would say the threats were of the more creative, less actionable sort, but I'm hopeful this will truly put an end to it. This is honestly the single dumbest thing I've ever gone through. My cat continues not to care. If you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much for all your support. The next one is titled, "Son has a peanut allergy, school continues to give or allow him to get peanuts." This has been an ongoing issue since the second day of school where he was given peanut butter crackers. We sort of brushed it off as a new school year, new students, Teacher's a bit frazzled dealing with first graders, no big deal. His allergy is not really severe, but still not fun to deal with and can potentially become life-threatening. We had already informed the school of his allergy before the year started and even talked directly to the teacher about it, because the default snack during the day, if no other parents brought in a snack, is peanut butter crackers. We even offered to purchase a special alternative for him, but they said it was unnecessary as they have other alternatives. So we figured the issue was over when a few weeks later it happened again. This time they claimed he grabbed another student's snack and ran off to eat it before they could stop him. Now my little one can be a little bit of a hard head and I can potentially see this happening, so again we talked to him about peanuts and how dangerous they are to him. He continued to adamantly deny doing that and said Mrs. gave them to him. We then decide a meeting with the principal is in order, not to blame the teacher or accuse her of lying, but to hopefully get this under control. Again, a few weeks of no more issues, and then it happened again. Once again, the story is,
he grabbed it and ran off and ate the whole package before we caught him.
Okay, so a 6-year-old managed to grab an unopened package of crackers, elude a teacher and an aide, and eat the whole package before he is caught? He's crying and swearing to us he was given them, and after so many incidents we have to start believing him. Another meeting with the principal and teacher gets us a
"Don't worry, this won't happen again."
We have another long sit down with our son to explain that even if it is given to you, you have to ask to make sure it does not have peanuts or other nuts in it. Then, the very next school day, the meeting was on Friday, he is given another snack of peanut butter crackers, but this time he asks if there is nuts in it and then he is given the alternative. We figure it kind of sucks that the kid has to be the adult right here, but at the end of the day, he's learning to ask about nuts. We sent an email to the principal detailing the issue and say that the next stop is the school board if he's given peanuts again. We get a response back saying,
"If he's asking now, what is the problem? He should have known to ask to begin with. We are teachers, not parents."
We have no issues for a while until this week. Some parent brought in peanut butter jelly sandwiches for snack time and he was given one. He forgot to ask about nuts but thought it was only in the crackers. We find out the parent was aware of a nut allergy in the class, it is on the parent's snack sheet, and brought in just the jelly one that was made separate from the peanut butter ones. However, he was not given this one. We spent a day at the hospital. We have had endless talks with him about nuts and do our best to teach him, but some of the blame has to be on the teachers here, right? Do schools not have an obligation to deal with allergies? The school lunch seems to have zero issues with his and has never given him a nut when there are several things on the menu rotation that contain them. He gets a special tray that was nowhere near any nuts. This is in Indiana, any help is appreciated. You know guys, when I was in preschool, I don't really remember ever having candy there. We usually just had a lot of fruits and vegetables. But anyway, what would you do if your school knowingly feeds peanuts to your son or daughter even though they are aware he or she has an allergy? In my opinion, that is extreme negligence, and I think the school should get in trouble for this. Update: school kept giving our son peanuts even though he is allergic. Lawyers are expensive. The past 3 months have been long and expensive, but it is finally resolved. Now I cannot go into a lot of the details after, but I can go over some of the details that happened during. We contacted a few attorneys and finally found one we were comfortable with, and then the fun started. We first sat down with the principal and teacher with our attorney, and he did not say anything except he needs to talk to someone else and not us. Our attorney then began collecting documents and statements/affidavits from our pediatrician, another doctor, and even got another opinion. Then he began having us get documents from the school, some of which they said we could not have, but our lawyer assured us we could have them. So he sent the school district some nice letters, and a few phone calls later we had everything. Talking to our insurance and the hospital was the easiest part of this entire thing, which I thought would be more complicated, and our insurance even offered their attorney services to our attorney, which turned out to be quite helpful with some of the other issues that came up along the way. He spent about a month going over everything, talking to doctors, getting more statements and reaching out to other parents, etc. During this time, our child was moved from his normal classroom and placed in a special needs classroom. Something we did not agree to or with. Our child has no developmental issues and an allergy hardly is a special need. So our lawyer then starts having us request more documents, same act with the school, and he had to send off letters and phone calls to get the new stuff related to him being put into a special needs classroom. The lawyer began sending letters about how the school district is punishing our child with the move to a more restrictive classroom and a different curriculum, and magically the next day he is back in a normal classroom. Finally, after 3 months of mostly playing the game with the school district, getting them to give us the paperwork and requests they are legally required to, we all finally sit down with the school district's attorney and our attorney. Now, I cannot go into a lot of the details, but I can tell you they settled without us moving on to the next step of having our meetings in a courtroom. Lawyers are expensive and so are hospital bills. I just hope all of this does not make our child a target for the rest of the year. We are going to be moving and changing jobs over the summer, hopefully. Thanks for all your help and advice, guys and girls. The plans everyone brought up for us to look over was incredibly important because we already had them on file with the school. You know guys, I'm really happy that I don't have a peanut allergy because damn, I love all kinds of peanuts, especially the ones that have a lot of salt and pepper on them. Do any of my ripe stars have a peanut allergy or any other kind of nuts? It would be interesting to hear how the allergy impacts your everyday life in regards to what you can eat. And the last one is titled "Hoarder in my building died. She was infested with cockroaches. They are literally pouring out into the hall now. My building keeps telling me to file maintenance requests and has ignored most of my calls since November. I am being financially impacted now." As the title says, there is a cockroach problem in my building, but specifically on my floor. A woman 2 units down from me had dementia and recently died in her apartment. I knew something was wrong because I began to smell something in the hall. She had been in there 4 days. While she was alive, the building had tried to address the pest infestation in her apartment as it began spreading quite rapidly. Anytime they tried to spray, she refused to let them in, and I believe it is because she was mentally unwell. They served her an eviction notice, but she died before the 90 days, I think. She was always wearing the same thing and was dirty all the time. I called the LHIN, Local Health Integration Network, the city, and anytime I had someone lined up to help her, she would refuse to let them in, even though she would initially agree. She would speak to my wife but not me, but then forget everything she told my wife or that my wife said to her. We tried to help her, but she would forget who we were. It genuinely makes me quite sad. Anyway, she has died and they have been unable to locate any relatives. She literally had no one. Last night I came home and there were literally cockroaches covering her door and all over the hallway. Adults, babies and every other size. I called building management and they kept telling me to put in a maintenance request, that it has been their solution to every call we have placed. Better than that, they also keep telling me to get her to put one. In case you were not reading, she is dead. They have not even gone in to clean her apartment yet, and a few days after the mailman delivered something and left her mail slot ajar, making the whole hallway smell of death. They refuse to deal with this problem and I am very angry. My dog and cat have started eating roaches in our apartment and I have had to ask some friends to care for them temporarily. I pay a lot of money to live here and I am ready to threaten legal action as we have been financially inconvenienced and we have been deprived of the quiet enjoyment of our unit. I don't know what to do, I am at a loss and any advice would be appreciated. Update to the story from just now. Through the advice I received on this subreddit, I contacted the city and the health department right away. I was contacted almost immediately by a bylaw officer who asked me some more detailed questions. The more we spoke, the more interested he became. He called and asked me, if I were to walk by deceased neighbor's unit, would I be able to see cockroaches coming out of the door? To which I replied, 150%. He then asked me when she passed and if to my knowledge there had been a biohazard cleaning team come in. I said no. Shortly after this phone call, the building management sent their cleaners up to my floor to clean up all the earth we had put in front of my door. I went out and asked them why. They told me they were instructed to because they don't want people panicking, etc. I told them they were to leave it there as I have called the city and they are on their way. They did not seem happy, as if the whole floor is not already in a panic anyway. Literally every door now has this earth in front of it now. I also made sure to let the bylaw officer know their solution so far has been to vacuum our floor multiple times a week with the same vacuum and then use the vacuum on other floors. I have learned now we are not the only floor with cockroaches now. This lack of care or concern about the cockroaches has just been pure negligence on their part. I explained to the bylaw officer that the building kept telling us they could not legally enter the apartment and do anything. According to Toronto health and bylaws, that is bullcrap. The situation is a public health hazard and therefore my building management could have taken action sooner, but for some reason chose not to. The bylaw officer on the phone gave me a pretty good understanding of how these things should work, and let me tell you, it is drastically different from the information I have been receiving from the building management. The bylaw officer became very concerned throughout the course of our phone call and he said he would have to contact some people and then call me back. I heard nothing until Monday. Come Monday morning, I get a loud knock at the door from my building super saying that Wednesday they are coming to completely spray and gut the hoarder's apartment. They will also be spraying the hallways and likely replacing the carpet entirely. The cockroaches are also under the wallpaper as well. The city has been here every day since, and suddenly we are getting all these visits from head office claiming they had no idea how bad things were. I don't believe them at all. We have all our evidence compiled to disprove building management claims that they
did not know
and will be handing it over. From what I understand from the bylaw officer, this is going to be quite a headache for building management. Now that the city and health department are involved, they must produce a lot of paperwork and comply with the orders given to them with hard deadlines. I have the personal contact information for the officer I spoke with and he has been incredibly attentive and helpful. We went from
submit a maintenance request to we are gutting the whole apartment and treating your unit immediately
in literally 48 hours after months of fighting and stress. Thank you so much, Reddit. I could not have done it without your help. Guys, did you ever have any big issues with something like cockroaches in your apartment? Let us know in the comments, and unfortunately we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the r/LegalAdvice content. Please also let me know in the comments whether or not you enjoy this subreddit. I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.